Raise your hands if you have ever had a deal fall apart or close to falling apart. Show of hands. That's what's up. So this room, this class for the next 45 minutes to an hour isn't gonna be about surviving in a shifting market. This isn't gonna be about surviving. This is gonna be about using tactics to take market share as other agents are starting to fall back, getting frustrated and feeling some type of way. So you are gonna walk out of here by learning the one thing that agents are not taught: how to bulletproof transactions, also known as keeping deals together. Make no mistake, it's a skill. It is a skill, and I'm gonna share with you guys some of it. So, if you had to guess, what is the number one reason that deals are falling apart in your business? Show of hands, couple of things. What you got?
Wrong expectations.
Okay, wrong expectations. Inspections, what you got?
Just lack of communication with
Okay.
the seller or buyer. Yeah.
Lack of communication,
Yeah.
what you got back there? Appraisals, fair, value, what you got?
Cold feet.
What was that?
Cold feet.
Ooh, remorse, yes.
Agent behavior.
Ooh, the co-op, I love that. One more, back there.
Financing.
Very good, well done guys. And all of them are correct. And more, and yet what you guys will see in a little bit, I'm gonna touch on the 6 fallout zones. So I'm gonna go through them, we're gonna talk about them in a little bit, but why am I up here, who am I, all this fun stuff. So let me share a little bit. I'm a coach with Glover U. I got licensed in 2005, got in right at the beginning, learned the right way to sell real estate just for the bottom to fall out. With that said, I met Jeff in 2008. I met head coach Kate in 2009, and I formed a business partnership with Ralph Goicoria, who has been my business partner for 15 years in 2010. Our director of operations, Priscilla, has been with us 13 years, and I share that because culture is a verb. People say they can have culture, throw that word around. It's not a word, it's an actionable thing, and track record matters. And so I share that, again, not to impress you guys that, hey, Priscilla's been with us 13 years, I've been business partner for 15, yet to share that shifts are a great equalizer. And when a market adjusts, everyone goes to relationships, jugulars, whoever can just step on what they can do. And the reality is that when you have a compass, a North Star, everything will work itself out. And so I share that because we've been through some stuff. I stepped out of sales 10 years ago, and my business partner, when I asked him, goes, "What on are you doing?" And yet we averaged 85 closings over the last 10 years. With me stepped out of production, and about 13 months ago, I said, I miss it. I can't wait to get back in. I missed the hoorah the last 10 years just to get back into the shit show that is the real estate market. And I share, again, all of this because being on now both sides of the aisle, being in leadership for the last 10 years, being in production, the forever before that, and then just love being in the trenches. And this is where I believe I can bring the most value, is all the pain and tribulations and blood and sweat of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, selling in Orlando and Miami at the same time, which is 3.5 hours apart, while Orlando was depressed and Miami was a rocket ship. And so balancing both sides, talking about going into a Miami pending transaction, behaving the way we did in Orlando, which was depressed, and then realizing, whoa, hold on, we have to behave differently, even though most of the country was still under pressure in 2012. Miami's bottom of the market was 2009. They hit bottom, took off, and spoiler alert, they're in deep trouble. And the media isn't talking about it. How would I say that? I'm going down a rabbit hole with you guys for a second. 70% of all vertical units are expiring in Miami. Single family is at 50. If you had a kid come home with a 50% on their report card, what are we feeling? Good or bad? Yeah. Except the media isn't talking about it yet. So my passion is to truly help agents navigate the real estate market. You guys will feel that today. You're going to feel a bit of that energy, and ultimately, My job is to help you take more listings, close more deals, and be more influential in the marketplace. Why? So that you could attract more people to whatever your model is and or attract people to your business and close more deals in less time. Because we don't get paid to work, we get paid to close deals. And that's what today is about. So, who's ready to talk about how to win the second half of the year? Show your hands. Let's try that again. Who's ready to... All right, so here's why I built this session. Here's why I built what I'm gonna present to you guys. I'm gonna look down because I don't wanna miss any of the thorough notes that I put down here. So if I'm looking down, I wrote what we're gonna dive into today. And agents who wanna win the second half and dominate, they have to manage emotions, expectations, and build momentum inside a transaction. Real estate in 2025 and real estate going into 2026 is about playing offense and defense. Offense, putting deals together. All right, I call FSBO, I call Expire, I take the listing, or hey, I'm doing farming, or I held an open house. That's offense. I got the opportunity. Agents have not been trained how to play defense. And that's what today is going to be about. I'll ask you guys, let's take 1, 2, or 3 foot. What do you want to take away from today? Other than how to keep more deals together, which we're gonna dive into. What you got?
Just getting ahead of the problems.
How to get ahead of problems. We're absolutely gonna touch in on that.
Cool.
Maybe some
How to
strategy.
know if the other person is bluffing or if you're able to help your client.
Fair. I'll share a story towards the end. If I don't get to it, I'll share with you a story of a negotiation I just did last week. There's so many things that I do just so subconsciously, just by just doing it over, that there's little tiny things that you can learn that can get through that by using certain language. So towards the end, hopefully we got some time, I'll dive into that. Take us home.
Strategies. Systems.
Both. Yes, we're gonna do that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna dissect the core reasons. This is the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna dissect the core reasons why deals fall apart. Okay, so the core reasons why deals fall apart, and then most importantly, how to bulletproof them. Let's talk about why agents lose control of transactions and what we can do differently. Because the hardest part of selling real estate is not putting buyers and sellers together. It's keeping deals together. And that's what we are going to do. Because in between putting a buyer and seller together, there's 1,000 ways our transactions can blow up. Let's dive in. We're not gonna talk about contracts, paperwork, paychecks is what we're gonna talk about. So danger zones, write that down, danger zones. Also known as fallout zones. They're predictable, and if they're predictable, they are also preventable. But you have to know what to look for, and that's what we're gonna dive into. For those that don't know, Matt Marsupian and myself are the coaches for Sales Rocket Coaching. A huge part of what I'm talking about today are excerpts from what we teach in the module called Bulletproofing. And so today is going to be a piece of that module. Do I have any Sales Rocket graduates in here right now? Perfect. So this is going to be a little bit of a review, and yet it's going to be fun because we can now interact and dive in. Let's dive into the 6 fallout zones. So the first one is inspections. What happens during inspections? Panic, doubt, and lack of leadership. So write that down. Deals fall apart during inspections because of panic, doubt, and no leadership. The second fallout zone is appraisals. The reason appraisals fall apart, or deals fall apart at appraisal, is because of the value gap. Seller believes their house is worth more. Well, I guess I'll back up and share this. There's multiple levels of value. One is market value. Market value is the value at which a buyer is willing to pay. Appraised value, the value that a bank sees versus risk in lending on the property. And then there's BPO, broker's price opinion. What we believe it will sell for in the next 30 days, at or above list price, at, below, or above. What I just shared with you is part of a buyer consultation, and then should be part of whenever you receive an offer, that you are educating your client so that they drop their ego, that their house is worth or their unit is worth more than what a buyer is willing to pay. And asterisks, no dialogue ever will work with an unmotivated person. So just understand that if you're like, oh, wait, I said that. Well, what's their motivation? Because none of it works. And that's why there's 70% condo expirations in South Florida, because people just aren't willing to meet the market. Just not. So why does this happen? Value gap, no preparation, which is what I just gave you guys some tidbits on, and there's no plan. That's why deals fall apart at appraisal. The third, loan funding. Why do deals fall apart here? Well, because of missteps, bad lenders, and silent buyers, meaning they're not communicating. So in the missteps, helping a buyer that you work with to get qualified by your preferred lender is a skill. They do not have to use your preferred lender. But if we do not have a buyer we work with approved by our lender, we have missed one of the greatest negotiation tools that we could pull out of the toolbox, which is running a parallel file. Not going to get into what that means. That's enough for those that go, well, I've never heard of that before, or for those that haven't heard about it in years to reuse it. Parallel files is the easiest, most simple way to get a seller who is pissed off extend past closing to show that you know what you're doing and you can keep the deal together. It just is delayed 2 weeks versus then putting it back on the market and closing in 6 weeks. Story for another day, but parallel file, if that's the first time you've heard it, it's one of the most powerful negotiation techniques you can use in representing buyers, or as a seller, knowing that we can keep this deal together and not have to put it back on the market and get blasted when the market's doing this. We getting any value so far? Just a little bit? Awesome, we just started. And we haven't gone into the meat. This is where I was gonna skim a little bit, but you guys are getting me going deeper here. So number 4 is contingencies. So why do deals fall apart here? Because of logistical surprises and legal snafus. Forgetting an initial. And they know that you forgot an initial, and then you go, oh, we needed this. And they're like, nope, sorry, gone, done. A skill to keep deals together is built in contingencies. Number 5, the co-op agent. Deals fall apart because of the other side. Weak partners. And here's the other reason why deals fall apart under here. You failed to clean it up. We don't get paid to work. So if you got to do both sides, you do both sides to get to the finish line. All agents are not created equal. And if you know what you're doing, you do the other side's job, not so they feel you're doing their job, so that they go, you are the greatest agent I've ever worked with. No matter what you're feeling subconsciously, that they just go, wow, you were awesome to work with. And meanwhile, you know, you did both sides and you got to the finish line. Because this is a fallout zone. And it is, in South Florida, I can tell you, it's number 1 reason. Because everyone has a real estate license in South Florida and everyone tries to hit home runs. And number 6, deadlines. So why do deals fall apart on deadlines? Because we've lost trust. There's been lost trust. And, as I shared earlier, leverage. Running a parallel file is absolute leverage because now you got time on your side to close in 2 weeks as the second lender takes over. They've already been running the file. Boom, all we need is 2 more weeks. You have the lender speak to the listing agent, we're good to go. Or you have your lender as a listing agent running the parallel file, so when theirs fails, boom, and now the seller feels comfortable that you're not blowing smoke. We're not gonna go super deep into these today, so if this is the first time you're hearing about the 6, you're already 1. The key here is that in Sales Rocket coaching, we go super deep in this. And in one-on-one coaching, of course, you will go super deep in keeping deals together because you're always talking about where your numbers are and where you're lacking.